The infinite hotel paradox. Imagine a hotel with an infinite number of rooms, all fully occupied. Now, imagine another guest arrives at the front desk, asking for a room. Can they be accommodated? This seemingly absurd scenario introduces us to one of mathematics' most mind-bending paradoxes, one that challenges our understanding of infinity and logic itself. The infinite hotel paradox, proposed by mathematician David Hilbert, explores how infinity behaves differently from finite numbers. In this thought experiment, even though every room is occupied, you can still make space for new guests by shifting each current occupant to the next room, e.g., moving guest 1 to room 2, guest 2 to room 3, etc. This simple yet profound idea reveals counterintuitive truths about infinity. It's not just a lot, but something fundamentally beyond human comprehension. This paradox forces us to confront the limitations of our intuition when dealing with infinity. It raises questions about whether infinity exists in the real world, or if it's merely a mathematical construct. Could the universe itself be infinite? And what does infinity mean for concepts like time, space, and existence? As we ponder the endless possibilities of infinity, let's shift gears to explore another concept that stretches the boundaries of reality. What if everything we experience is nothing more than a simulation? The simulation hypothesis. What if your life, your memories, and even the stars above you are part of an elaborate computer program? The simulation hypothesis suggests that our perceived reality might be indistinguishable from a hyper-advanced simulation, a theory both unsettling and fascinating. Philosopher Nick Bostrom popularized the idea that advanced civilizations could create simulations so realistic that simulated beings would have no way of knowing they're artificial. If such technology exists, then statistically speaking, it's more likely we're living in a simulation than base reality. If true, this hypothesis undermines many assumptions about free will, purpose, and identity. Are our choices genuinely ours, or are they pre-programmed responses? Does morality hold any weight if none of this is real? These questions blur the line between philosophy and science fiction. While the simulation hypothesis questions the nature of reality, there's another paradox closer to home, one that probes the very essence of who we are. Let's dive into the paradox of free will. The paradox of free will. Do we truly choose our actions, or are they predetermined by factors outside our control? The paradox of free will pits determinism against autonomy, challenging centuries of philosophical debate. At its core, determinism suggests that everything we do is the product of a chain reaction stretching back to the dawn of time. Every decision you make, what to eat for breakfast, whether to smile at a stranger, is shaped by genetics, upbringing, environment, and countless other variables beyond your control. On the other hand, proponents of free will argue that despite these influences, individuals retain the capacity to act independently, breaking free from the constraints of causality. However, modern neuroscience adds another layer of complexity. Studies show that brain activity often precedes conscious awareness of a decision, implying that what feels like choice may simply be the brain executing predetermined instructions. These findings blur the line between agency and inevitability, forcing us to reconsider whether free will is real or merely an illusion crafted by the mind. If free will is an illusion, accountability crumbles. Should criminals be punished if their actions were inevitable? Conversely, if free will exists, how do we reconcile it with neuroscience showing predictable brain patterns preceding decisions? Speaking of narratives, our sense of self is deeply tied to the stories we tell ourselves about our lives. But what happens when those stories are disrupted or erased entirely? Let's delve into the haunting possibility of losing one's memory. Amnesia and the collapse of self. Memories are the threads that weave together our sense of self, grounding us in both the past and the future. Without them, we lose not only cherished experiences, but also the ability to envision what lies ahead. Studies on amnesiacs reveal just how delicate this construct truly is, showing that identity is far more fluid than we might assume. Amnesia manifests in various forms, each shedding light on memory's pivotal role in shaping who we are. Retrograde amnesia erases memories of events prior to its onset, leaving individuals disconnected from their personal histories. Anterograde amnesia, on the other hand, prevents the formation of new memories, effectively freezing someone in time. Both forms highlight the profound impact memory has on our relationships, emotions, and goals. Without memory, forming lasting connections becomes nearly impossible. Emotional well-being falters as individuals struggle to recall moments of joy or lessons learned from hardship. Even aspirations for the future dissolve, since envisioning tomorrow requires anchoring in yesterday. This fragility underscores how deeply memory shapes our personal narratives, acting as both architect and storyteller of our lives. Memory connects us to our past selves, but what about connecting to something greater than ourselves? Could quantum entanglement offer clues about interconnectedness beyond individual consciousness? Quantum entanglement and interconnectedness. Quantum entanglement defies classical physics by suggesting that particles remain mysteriously connected regardless of distance. This phenomenon challenges our understanding of separateness, hinting at a deeper unity underlying existence. When two particles become entangled, measuring one instantaneously affects the other, even across vast cosmic distances. Scientists struggle to explain this spooky action at a distance, as Einstein famously called it, but its implications are profound. If particles can share such an intimate connection, could human consciousness operate similarly? Some theorists speculate that minds might resonate through unseen dimensions, creating a collective field of awareness. Exploring these ideas forces us to reconsider notions of individuality. If entanglement applies beyond subatomic particles, perhaps empathy, intuition, or shared emotions arise from subtle interconnectedness. However, this raises ethical dilemmas. Are we responsible for others' thoughts if they ripple through a shared consciousness? Transitioning to the next segment, while quantum theories stretch scientific boundaries, some questions push further into metaphysical realms. What if death isn't an end, but merely a transition to another state of being? Near-death experiences and afterlife hypotheses. Near-death experiences, NDEs, have fascinated humanity for centuries, offering tantalizing glimpses into realms beyond physical existence. Accounts often include feelings of detachment, encounters with radiant beings, and journeys through tunnels of light. While skeptics attribute NDEs to neurological processes like oxygen deprivation, many aspects resist easy explanation. For instance, patients report perceiving events during clinical death that occurred far from their bodies, a phenomenon science struggles to account for. If consciousness survives death, it fundamentally alters how we view life's purpose. It suggests continuity beyond biology, where actions may carry eternal weight. Conversely, dismissing NDEs as illusions challenges us to confront mortality directly, embracing impermanence. These possibilities blur the lines between philosophy and spirituality, inviting reflection on what lies ahead. Transitioning to the next segment, whether consciousness persists after death, its origins remain equally mysterious. How did subjective experience arise in a universe seemingly governed by impersonal laws? Let's examine the evolutionary roots of awareness. Evolutionary origins of consciousness. How did self-awareness evolve in a world driven by survival and reproduction? Some researchers propose that consciousness emerged to enhance social cooperation, allowing early humans to navigate complex relationships and solve problems collectively. Others argue it arose as a byproduct of advanced neural networks processing vast amounts of information. Regardless of its origins, consciousness transformed humanity, enabling introspection, creativity, and moral reasoning. Yet, understanding its evolution highlights limitations. Did natural selection prioritize efficiency over accuracy, leading to cognitive biases? Our brains excel at pattern recognition, sometimes seeing connections where none exist. This raises questions about reliability. How much of our perception reflects reality versus constructed narratives? As we explore these origins, consider the future of consciousness. Will technology someday allow us to transcend biological constraints entirely? Transitioning to the final segment, let's delve into the post-human era and the mind-bending possibilities of mind uploading. Mind uploading and the post-human era. Mind uploading envisions a future where human consciousness is no longer confined to fragile, mortal bodies, but instead exists as digital entities within virtual realms. At its core, this concept involves replicating the intricate architecture of the human brain, mapping its billions of neurons and trillions of synaptic connections into a digital format. Theoretically, this process would allow an uploaded mind to retain memories, personality traits, and cognitive abilities, effectively creating a virtual version of one's consciousness. Proponents hail this as humanity's next evolutionary leap, offering the promise of immortality and freedom from biological limitations. Skeptics, however, caution against the profound ethical dilemmas and existential risks it entails, questioning whether such a transition preserves authenticity or fundamentally alters what it means to be human. The implications of mind uploading are as fascinating as they are unsettling. Would a digital copy of you still be you, or merely a replica with no claim to your identity? If consciousness could exist indefinitely in a simulated environment, would it retain the depth of human emotions, the spark of creativity, or the capacity for free will? These questions challenge our understanding of selfhood and raise critical concerns about the nature of existence. For instance, if multiple copies of the same mind were created, which version, if any, would hold moral responsibility for actions taken? Furthermore, the prospect of living eternally in a virtual world forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. Would such an existence feel fulfilling, or would it devolve into monotony and existential despair? As we stand on the brink of these transformations, we face profound existential questions about the essence of humanity. What defines us? Our biology, our experiences, or something deeper that eludes replication? The allure of transcending mortality must be weighed against the potential loss of what makes us uniquely human. Take a moment to reflect on these ideas before drifting off. Consciousness remains one of the greatest mysteries of existence, both intimate and infinite. Perhaps the answers lie not outside, but within, the quiet whispers of your own mind as you surrender to sleep.